address.
If you are a business and or property owner, if you can include your email address as well as your current mailing address, that'll help us to keep our records up to date.
How are you? Nice to see you. Hello everyone. So again, we'll just put together.
Lindsay Diamond, I'm just a resident of Germantown.
Okay.
Melissa Diamond, resident.
Angela Jones, business owner.
Jill Saul, resident.
Maria Chrysler, I am one of the builders here.
Okay, welcome.
Connie Winters, resident and business owner.
Okay, we have some people in the back. Would you say your name, resident or business owner, property owner, please? I can't hear you. Oh, hi. Good. Okay,
Greg Palmier, I own a property, I'm a business
great, thank you.
and housing, I'm a housing specialist.
Great. Okay.
Hi, my name is Pele Ergang-Layden, Germantown resident.
Tanya Blah, resident.
Allison Weiss, Solo, Germantown Civic Association, LCO, Wayne Avenue Merchant Association.
Steve Fillmore, East Falls local.
Carolyn Fillmore, East Falls local.
All the way to the back, please.
Lawanda Horton, Mission Incorporated, business owner.
Henry Slaughter, business owner.
Steve Horton, resident and also part-time food vendor at the farmer's market.
All right, welcome.
Sharif Ali, resident, landlord, also representing Maplewood neighbors.
Okay.
Linda White, resident, Northwest Neighbors of Germantown.
Megan Biddle, property owner and resident.
Ken Weinstein, property owner, business owner.
Okay, thank you. And Councilwoman?
Cindy Bass, Councilwoman, 8th District.
All right, and we don't want to not
Carson.
introduce our young
Carson.
person.
Person Bass.
Okay. All right, so welcome everyone to our meeting. Again, we're happy to have you here. We apologize ahead of time for the tight quarters, and we'll try to make this as efficient as possible and address everyone's concerns and just have an efficient meeting. For those of you who just arrived, you may not know who I am. I'm Tripita Mason. I'm the interim board chair for GSSD. We're going to move on to our roll call. On the board, Tripita Mason, here obviously, Joe Meade Jr. Cornelia Swinson. Here. Janya Daniels. Here. Angela Bowie. Here. Daniel Connor.
Here.
Kathy Palmier. Charles Richardson.
Here.
Ingrid Shepard. Okay. So next, was that it here? Ingrid?
Ingrid, was that you? I'm pretty sure I heard it here.
Heard something.
Okay.
Ingrid? Hello?
I heard something.
Okay, I think that's her, yeah.
Okay. Okay, next order of business, review and accept the minutes of December 14, 2018. So the board can go quickly through the minutes, please.
Just for everyone's interest, we have a very limited number of information packets. We're going to try to read through.
Can everyone hear me in the back as well?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so the first new business we have are resolutions that we're going to pass. That we're going to need to pass. Does everyone have this board?
There was a question at the January 4th meeting about how the resolutions are dated. They're dated 2018 because we're still operating under that fiscal year. So if I could just, for the edification of the crowd, board resolution.
No, your paper.
So you use 2018 as date for the one that was before.
Whereas the Germantown Special Services District shall continue to operate, Board Resolution 006-2018. Whereas the Germantown Special Services District shall continue to operate and provide services to the commercial corridor. Whereas the current interim board chair has made many efforts to reach out to the previous board chair to obtain account access, help recoup delinquent accounts, and/or provide an explanation of the disparate state of fiscal affairs. Whereas the authority and ability to open, access, and operate new accounts shall be needed for the Germantown Special Services District to function. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Germantown Special Services District hereby grants authority to open a new bank account. It also grants immediate access to the current board chair, secretary, and executive director. In the absence of permanent appointments to these posts, the interim chair and interim executive director, with support of the secretary, shall have the ability to open, access, and operate said account until the board is able to make a permanent appointment. After such time, signers shall be limited to the chair, treasurer, and executive director. Any questions of the board?
Okay. Any questions?
Any updates to the language? Everybody is fine with the language?
Okay, so we need a motion on the table, so we're gonna change the bank account to PNC, and we are gonna be doing that too.
We have to change the bank
Oh, I think
account.
He said so
He said so moved.
Sorry. We can't hear him.
Do we have a second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes.
Item B. Board Resolution 007-2018. Whereas the Germantown Special Services District shall continue to operate and provide services to the commercial corridor. Whereas the current interim board chair has made many efforts to reach out to the previous chair and obtain access, settle accounts, and provide an explanation of the state of fiscal affairs. Whereas the authority and ability to open, access, and operate new accounts shall be needed for the GSSD to function. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Germantown Social Services District hereby grants authority to Tropia Mason, interim board chair, to open a new general operating fund account and, if necessary, a payroll account at the PNC Bank of Germantown. It also grants immediate access to the current board chair, treasurer/secretary, and executive director. In the absence of those permanent appointments, the interim chair and interim executive director, with support of the secretary, shall have the ability to open, access, and operate said accounts until the board is able to make a permanent appointment. And again, after such time, the signers shall be limited to the board chair, board treasurer, and executive director. Any questions?
Yes.
Updates with that, please.
And does that, I'm reading it, but does that stipulate that they're assured that two people must sign on the check?
Yes.
And also, have you reviewed the fees involved with opening up an account at PNC Bank? Like, what are their service charges, what is the annual fee, things like that? Has that been reviewed as well?
They're comparable to what we have now with the other bank account with Citizens. And so, this is an additional level of checks and balances. So there are 3 signers. So there will be eventually treasurer once we have that. But for now, it'll be the president, the secretary, and the executive director.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
As a fiduciary, what actions are you going to take against the previous board chair for not allowing you to access the accounts?
The board will address that during executive session, but it is being looked into. But we're not going to provide public comment on it right now, sorry.
Okay. And you're not going to attach it to the motion?
No,
Okay.
not at this time.
On the record.
Well, when there is a motion, we will, I have one, should we, so. We didn't,
I have a question.
Sure,
Has there been an independent audit?
there will be.
There will be.
Jamar, I can answer.
Okay.
Yes, there will be. We have an external accountant who's reviewed all of the books. The accountant will continue to work with the organization, Pyramid Accounting Solutions, and we are going to have an audit as well. Our first priority is to just make sure financially that the organization is whole, and we are going to have an accountant, an audit on the organization.
So, follow up, the auditor will not be the person who's been looking over the books?
No,
It'll be an
it'll
independent?
be an
Okay.
audit.
It'll be an
Yeah,
independent audit.
yes, most organizations.
Okay.
Trivia, can I ask, will that audit go back multiple years back to if and when there was a previous audit, or will it be a one-year audit?
We're going to try our best, but as you know, audits can be anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per year. So, I'm familiar with McGovern from a previous organization, and that can run about $3,000 to $5,000. So we'll do the best. I remember one time doing something with them that came in at about $6,000 to $8,000 for them to do a 3-year look back. So we're going to try to do the best we can, but right now it's looking at how much funds we have available. But we are definitely doing an audit, and it may go beyond just the 1 year.
When was the last audit?
The last,
Do we know?
Just to be clear, the organization has always had a financial review. Most nonprofits, even the ones I came from, had a financial review on a certain amount of budget. That's the requirement. So GSSD has always had a financial review. In terms of a full audit, I can't recall. I've been on the board about 2 years, so I'm not certain, but I can find out.
Yes.
Look back in the records just to see when the last one was full audit.
Okay, as far as the
Yeah,
financial.
which would have been in our books, in the reading book.
Okay, we will take questions. I want everybody to hold it because we have a motion on the floor. And we still haven't passed our motion. Okay.
And if you need a 3x5 card to write your question down so you don't forget, we have those.
Okay.
The public comment is at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Can I
So,
make one more comment before I leave? I have a parting comment. Prior to the last meeting, I sent an email to Jamar, to Ingrid, to Cornelia, and trying to think who else I copied, requesting a change of venue because I have a knee injury and I can't stand. And I thought it also discouraged public from coming because the office is so. You didn't get it. Did you check your email?
I check my
Because
email
it didn't
every
come
day.
back.
I check it every day.
Okay. Did you get it,
And
Cornelia?
we've put it on the announcement, if you need special accommodation to us.
I think that would be
do you
reasonable.
want?
The fire hazard right now.
Yeah, I email it.
Yeah, I will.
That's right. Fire
This
hazard.
clearly is a fire hazard.
Yes, it is.
best we can.
Yeah, it's a tight space. We are looking for better space, bigger space. Okay, again, we have a motion on the floor. So the motion, we don't need to review. Everybody remembers the motion? Okay, about the 3 signers. Can we get a board member to, so move, second?
Second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We need a vote. Okay. Okay, vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, and you're recording for what now?
I'm just documenting.
Okay, what publication?
East Falls Local.
Okay, so item C, nominating advisory committee. Okay, the board, the GSSD has decided that because of the size of the board is small, and we know that we have several seats to fill on the board, in an effort to just get support with that, Daniel Connor is going to lead the nominating committee on the board. I'm also going to be on the nominating committee, and we're going to assemble an advisory committee comprised of some business and property owners in addition to institutional members of the community. This group of individuals, about 8 individuals, it's going to be a short-term ad hoc committee that will meet no less than, I think we said at least 2 to 3 times before the February board meeting. And the purpose of this group is to convene to discuss and bring forward suggestions of board members that are business and property owners in the community and they will bring forth these suggestions to the GSSD. And with the individual's resume and a very short application that we will provide. Once they do that, we will continue with the regular process that we have to continue with as a municipal authority. There is an established process that we have to follow. And we have information on that if people need to know what that is. So there are members that we've reached out to that have agreed to participate on this nominating advisory committee, and those members are going to meet as soon as possible, but they should have these suggestions before the February board meeting. 1 second, please. And the board member leading that will be Daniel Connor. So, yes.
These people who were chosen to be on the nominating advisory committee, what are they members of?
They are stakeholders and or property owners and or business owners.
And how were they chosen?
They were chosen by members of the board. They were chosen, they represent different parts of the district. So we have we have mostly the people on here are business owners or institutional people that represent different institutions in the community. Most of them are business owners.
That's good.
If you have board members you would like to nominate or candidates you want us to consider, please forward us a resume, and we'll reach out to them with an application so that they can declare their interest.
Yeah, so Jamar's making a good point. It doesn't just have to come through this committee. If there are other individuals that you think would be viable board members, and I just want to kind of review the process a little bit. Yeah, let me show Jamar. So once these suggestions are made, what the board will do, and we can get you copies of these, we don't have a lot of them, but this is a municipal authority vacant board seats. This is how it's done for you to be able to fill a board seat. So a nominating committee is convened. The board is not large enough to have a full nominating committee, so we have an advisory committee to kind of help with the nominating committee. From there, that the recommendations are made to the board. Those recommendations are then vetted. There's an application process, a resume. Then we share the list of the candidates with the councilwoman. There's also a process where individuals have to go through a tax clearance process, which includes tax certification and ensuring that there are no outstanding debts to the city of Philadelphia, water bill and tax bills and things like that. And then the nomination committee begins the final, we bring the final slate to the board for approval. And then this organization requests appointments through the council. Did I miss any steps?
Not that I'm aware of.
Then it goes to the council, the full council for a vote, and then the mayor process.
Okay. So if you have questions about this process, you just save it until the end and we can answer it. And if you need this information, we don't have enough, well, we can get your email and we can send this to you. But this is how it's done. We've just kind of taken an extra step because there's been a lot of questions about board seats and board members and how people are on the board, and we just wanted to let you know how that process is. Okay, item D on the agenda. And as Jamar pointed out, again, if you have individuals, names, resumes, we will have an application, a brief application. The governance committee, this is something that the board will be working on the governance committee. This is going to be a process again, and probably it'd be best served with a full board. So we've given ourselves until June to really work on updating, reviewing the bylaws and looking through the various resolutions that were passed, and just kind of working on the bylaws and having individuals that are coming on the board help us with that, in addition to the municipal authority, the commerce folks, and people can just weigh in, but just us working as a board on our bylaws. So that'll happen by June, because there are some matters with governance that we need to work on. And Jamar, I'm gonna have you talk about the GSSD dumpster inclusion.
Yes, so We received correspondence from Mr. Stan Smith. Mr. Smith owns the property at 5547 Pulaski. He very kindly and graciously allows GSSD to host its dumpster on his property. The problem is that the GSSD has not provided adequate maintenance in support of the parking lot there. Unfortunately, that has led to a violation ticket from the city for trash overflow. The violation is dated July 9, 2018, though it was only received on January the 4th of 2019.
Is there a copy of it here?
It's not in there.
How much is the citation?
That part isn't clear. It looks to be around $302.10. It's written in. It's not circled like it's supposed to be.
How did you not get it?
Sounds like a collection
It
amount.
well, he didn't receive it in the mail until January, and the ticket was written in July. I'm not sure how that process worked out, but he would like us to contest the fine and or pay for it, because again, he graciously allows us to keep the dumpster on his property without a charge. And
I can
And
give you
if
information about that.
if it helps, it's a mess today.
Well, can we get the information? We'll look it up and find out, number one, why it took so long to get there, number two, what the fine was for, and if there's something that can be done. We've been working closely with the streets department, so if you want to, give me a copy of it, I'd be happy to look into it.
I think the more important thing is to clean up the area. It's a mess even today.
we have extremely limited resources, but it is on our list, and it will get addressed within the
Well,
next.
if no cleaning is being done, why doesn't the dumpster get removed?
Allison, public comment is at the end of the
Sorry.
meeting. Number one. Number two, as we will discuss in a few minutes, we have engaged into a partnership with an organization that is providing some cleaning in the very short term. And we will get that property listed for them next week. They're out once a week, sometimes twice a week. I didn't want to forget.
Okay. All right, so Jamardi will...
I'll share that information.
Okay. Okay, old business, resolution 005, 2018, meeting dates and times for 2019.
Sorry.
So we wanted to talk about the meeting dates and times because this came up, I know last year, the meeting dates were adjusted to include a morning and an evening meeting. Because we're trying to accommodate people's schedules. And we wanted to talk today about whether evening meetings are better or the current morning and evening works better. Personally, I prefer evening, but I can adjust to maintaining the schedule that we just voted on. I'm okay with that. It requires me to take leave in the morning from work for the morning meetings, but I'm okay with that. But I know that we had another board member that said that the morning meetings were really difficult to get to. So we need to discuss what is preferred. I'm willing to stick with our schedule that we've established, but I just wanted to talk to everyone else, what your thoughts are, morning, evening, so we can move forward.
Yeah, I'm very flexible.
Yeah, something like that.
Doesn't he
Well, they-
specifically request morning?
Well, no,
Yes.
so I requested a discussion about the change to evening because after speaking with Mr. Connor, I learned that he's in court in the morning, so it
Right.
doesn't work at all for his schedule.
Okay,
When the AM meetings.
That's the
And-
reason why it was changed in the first place. It was it was another board member as well. But in particular, Dan Connor stated that oftentimes he couldn't get here because of work dates.
Yeah, so something Allison just mentioned to me, we have half the board members are not on the board yet, so we could,
But in particularly in the current environment where where the size of the board is reduced, it would be even more prudent to accommodate Mr. Connor's schedule, as well as your schedule, to be quite honest, so that we can maximize the potential of board members available to come to any given meeting. Just
Okay, so we have 2 flexibles. One, I'll do what needs to be done. One can't do mornings,
Flexible, evening's better, but.
evenings better.
If I may, the other issue that was discussed